The ocean is a world full of mystery, calm, and learning. Every bubble we exhale underwater reminds us that we are alive, present, and connected to something greater than ourselves. Hi, and welcome to Holy Bubbles. My name is Johan Zabala, and I'm excited to share this space with you. This podcast is a reflection of my journey, both underwater and in life. What is Holy Bubbles? It's a podcast where we explore diving, personal growth, and spirituality. Here, we'll talk about travel experiences, lessons I've found in the ocean and life, and how all of this connects to our search for purpose and inner peace. Why Holy Bubbles? Because each bubble underwater is a reminder that we are alive, breathing, and living in the present moment. And because, for me, the ocean is a sacred place where I find calm, clarity, and connection with God. What can you expect from this podcast? Reflections on diving and life, adventure and exploration stories, interviews with inspiring people, conversations about faith, purpose, and personal growth. If you love the ocean, you're passionate about exploring life from a different perspective, or you're simply looking for inspiration, this podcast is for you. So gear up, take a deep breath, and get ready to dive into this journey with me.
Holy Bubbles.
Let's get started. From Colombia to the underwater world. Since I was a child, I always knew my life was connected to nature, but I never imagined my destiny was underwater. Today, I want to share with you how my passion for the ocean was born, and the path that led me to live my dream as a professional diver. When I was around 7 years old, I lived in my grandmother's house with my mom and uncles. It was a big house with a backyard full of plants. Among them, I fondly remember a cherry tree where I loved to eat cherries with my uncles. That backyard was my jungle, my little world of exploration. I would get lost among the leaves, watching insects, following the movements of animals on the ground. Since I was little, my curiosity about nature was insatiable. But there was something else in that house that marked my childhood. A collection of encyclopedias. There were books on aviation, history, world wars. But my favorite was an encyclopedia dedicated to nature. I was fascinated by flipping through those pages full of amazing pictures of animals, landscapes, and ecosystems. I learned so much that in school, I always had the answer to the teacher's questions. My mind was in constant exploration, and those books awakened in me a deep love for the natural world. Another big influence was a TV program called Naturalia. The TV host was passionate in the way of narrating her experiences in nature. I have a very clear image in my mind. Her paddling in a canoe down the Amazon River, excitedly describing Colombia's biodiversity. I watched her and thought, I want to do that. I want to live that. In fact, one of my dreams was to work in something related to nature. I also dreamed of being a soccer player. And if I had followed that path, I might have been a Cristiano Ronaldo or a Messi today. But my family had a different mindset. I needed to study something safe, something that would make money. So, I ended up studying business administration. I graduated, worked, and even started my own business. But something inside me wasn't complete. I felt like it wasn't enough. My heart was asking for something more. Meanwhile, the socio-political situation in Colombia was becoming complicated, and I decided to emigrate. That's how I ended up in Australia in 2018. What I didn't know was that this trip would change my life forever. In Australia, my life took an unexpected turn when my best friend Angelo was diagnosed with cancer. Accompanying him through his recovery process was one of the most profound experiences of my life, and it was through that process that God entered my life and completely transformed it. Watching Angelo heal was a miracle, and our bond became stronger than ever. When he recovered for the first time, we decided to do something special to celebrate life. And that's how we ended up in Byron Bay, at a marine sanctuary called Julian Rocks, where we would do our first scuba dive. My first dive, face to face with sharks. My first discovery scuba diving. What is a discovery scuba diving? Discovery scuba diving is an introductory experience for people who have never dived before. It's not a certification, but a guided opportunity to learn the basics and dive for the first time. You learn about the use of diving equipment, regulator, buoyancy control device, BCD, mask, and tank. Breathing techniques underwater, underwater communication signals, buoyancy control, safety protocols, and how to manage ear pressure. Back to Byron Bay. Imagine this, the first time I dive. With sharks. That's right. At Julian Rocks, we dived with nurse sharks, a completely harmless species, but imposing in the water. The experience was unforgettable. But I won't lie, I was nervous. Breathing underwater for the first time is a strange sensation. My adrenaline was through the roof. My air consumption skyrocketed, and I ended up being the first to surface. But at that moment, something inside me woke up. And here comes the island that changed my life forever. Cook Island. Later, living on the Gold Coast, I found an affordable tour for snorkeling at an artificial island called Wavebreak Island. However, when I arrived, I was told that the tour had changed, and that, at no additional cost, they would take me to Cook Island, a turtle reserve. What makes Cook Island special? It's a protected marine reserve located in New South Wales, home to various turtle species, such as the green sea turtle and the hawksbill turtle. Crystal clear waters with an average depth of 10-18 meters. Diverse marine life, including stingrays, parrotfish, and wobbegong sharks or leopard sharks. That day was magical. At first, swimming on the surface, I saw turtles from a distance. But then, a giant turtle appeared right in front of me. I approached respectfully, stretched out my hand, as if I had a superpower to talk to or communicate with animals like Aquaman. And the current brought us together for a few seconds. I touched its shell, and in that instant, I felt an indescribable connection. It was a sublime moment. As I floated, I watched how the turtle released bubbles that rose directly toward me. I felt like we were communicating in a way that went beyond words. But beyond the beauty of the encounter, deep in my heart, I felt God's presence. It was as if, through that majestic creature, God was reminding me that I wasn't alone. That the ocean wasn't just a place of exploration, but a sacred space where I could find Him. At that moment, I understood that my true passion was in the ocean. But I also realized that every dive was an opportunity to connect with God, with His creation, with His greatness. There in the depths of the water, surrounded by life and silence, I found peace, clarity, and purpose. It was as if God whispered to me, "This is your path, follow it." Since that day, I started researching diving. How could I get certified? How could I make this my life? The instructors at the dive center guided me, explaining each step of the process. First, Open Water Diver Certification, Advanced Open Water Rescue Course, Dive Master, Instructor. Here I am today, living the dream that once seemed far away, doing my instructor course in the Philippines, home of the Coral Triangle. Every dive, every bubble that rises to the surface, reminds me that following my passion and trusting in God has brought me exactly where I need to be. Life takes us down unexpected paths, but when we follow our passion and trust in God, we end up exactly where we need to be. Today, my mission is to share this adventure with you, to explore the underwater world, personal growth and faith together. I hope my story inspires you to listen to your own calling and take that first step toward your dreams. If this story inspired you, wait until you see what's coming in the next episodes. Don't forget to follow me, give it a like, and share this content with someone who also dreams of exploring the ocean. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt a calling inside of you? A passion that has been waiting for the right moment to come to light? I want to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me what part of this story you liked the most. You can also send me a message with your questions, experiences, or topics you'd like us to cover in upcoming episodes. See you in the next episode of Holy Bubbles. See you soon.